Tuesday, I'm Ed Matthews with a WFMY News 2 weather update. Want to get you updated on Piedmont weather. There are two weather elements that we have been focusing on, over the past week or so. First of all, Arctic cold gripping our area and really much of the eastern half of the country. We're dealing with the cold air, and we may be dealing with a little snow later on this afternoon and into the overnight period. At this point, we don't expect much. Looks like maybe a little bigger snow in coastal North and South Carolina, maybe several inches of snow around Wilmington and Fayetteville, Greenville, North Carolina. That's certainly a possibility, and even some snow down around the Grand Strand. But let's talk about how frosty it was this morning. These are the unofficial low temperatures for this morning, and as expected by your forecast team, most areas dipping into the low and mid-teens. Out over the mountains, look at this. Boone went down to 5 this morning, Jefferson at 6. It's only part of the story. You got to factor in, well, a little bit of wind that we had earlier this morning sent the wind chill, or the feels like temperature, in the Piedmont Triad into the single digits, and we had wind chills below zero at Wilkesboro and even up in the higher terrain of the Blue Ridge. And that is the reason generally we have the weather impact alert that remains in effect until midday on Thursday. Because even Thursday morning, we're going to drop down into the low and mid-teens. And then after Thursday, we kind of turn a corner, and it looks as though temperatures are going to moderate a little bit. And as you'll see on the 7-day coming up in just a minute, we could actually top out pretty close to 50 coming up on Sunday. Boy, that's going to feel really good. But again, this goes until midday on Thursday. More frigid air across the area. And yes, we're tracking the possibility of a few flakes of snow as we go into this evening and into the overnight period. Feel like temperatures, and this is what we're looking at now. These are the 2 p.m. observations. The big number, the current temperature, and with all the clouds we've got, there's been absolutely no warming at all. Temperatures for the most part are in the low and mid 20s. The smaller number is really the more critical number that we're watching in this type of situation, and that's the feel like temperature with a little bit of wind. Feels like 17 out at PTI. If the wind's not blowing like over at Asheboro and Lexington, if the temperature and the feels like temperature are equal, that means the winds are calm. But we have certainly seen wind chills even during the daylight hours in the teens. Overnight lows tonight, we're going to go right back where we were earlier this morning. The actual air temperature early tomorrow morning back into the low and mid-teens. And our forecast model, check this out. Tomorrow morning, while you're watching the Good Morning Show and getting ready for work, we could have feel like temperatures pretty close to zero. And once again, we're likely going to see wind chill values out over the Blue Ridge well below zero. Got something interesting I want to show you. Look at this. New Orleans, Louisiana. About 2 inches of snow on the ground in New Orleans. Now look back in the record books, and this is the biggest snow they've had since the year 2009. Now, the biggest snow on record for the city of New Orleans is 2.7 inches of snow. They may be on their way to a brand new record snowfall for today, and that snow is really coming down pretty heavily right now around the New Orleans area. And look at this. Our winter radar is showing some snow even in the western panhandle of Florida. This is crazy stuff. This is really, really rare, seeing some snow over southern Mississippi, Alabama. When you get into Georgia and up through the Carolinas, the atmosphere is not only really frigid, but it's really dry as well. So these snowflakes are falling, but they're really pretty much evaporating before they reach the ground. But once we saturate all columns of the atmosphere, we'll start to see a little light snow fall in the Carolinas, and I'm looking about between about 7 p.m. and about 10 p.m. this evening. Now again, looks pretty impressive on radar, and I wouldn't even rule out maybe a flake or two making it all the way to the ground, but this is aloft, and again, at the moment, not reaching the ground. Look at all the advisories for winter weather. The pink areas, which includes the Tidewater area of Virginia, much of eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, a good bit of Georgia, and the northern part of Florida right now under winter storm warnings. That warning implies that they're expecting that winter weather to move on closer to Jacksonville, Florida later on this afternoon and tonight. And of course, we saw the snow really coming down in New Orleans. Those areas are under a winter storm warning as well. Now, the winter storm warning in eastern North Carolina has been extended a little bit farther to the west, inland, and also the winter weather advisory has been extended a little bit farther to the west. It now includes Chatham County, Moore County, Lee County, and even Montgomery County in our southern viewing area. This implies that these areas will likely get enough snow to cause some travel problems later on this evening and during the Good Morning Show coming up on Wednesday. Depending on how things play out this evening and overnight, we could not rule out that winter weather advisory being extended into the Metro Triad. At the moment, it's not, but that is a distinct possibility depending on how trends go for the evening hours. Now, we've been looking at models. We've been tracking this thing before it even developed. We've been tracking it on forecast models, and we're looking at about 8 or 9 different forecast models, and they have a variety of solutions. Some models keep the snow from Raleigh and Sanford on down to the east along US Highway 1, and if this were to play out, we'd get no snow in the Piedmont, but that's only one model. We're looking at obviously the other models as well. And the big change with our European model and our GFS model, and you hear us talk about these models quite often during our regular weather segments, have moved the snow farther to the west. So we are feeling a little bit more confident that we could get anywhere from a pretty solid dusting to maybe some areas, yeah, even right here from Greensboro south and east, as much as an inch of snow. Not a guarantee, not etched in stone, but we do have to consider these models shoving that precipitation a little bit farther to the west. And we've got it on our expected snow map here. We've nudged it a little bit farther to the west. Now you go into the foothills and up into southwestern Virginia, no worries for you guys. You're not going to get any snow at all. If you got a flurry, I would be surprised. This is mainly from Guilford County and Greensboro, south and east. And the farther east you go, the more available moisture and the more likelihood to get, look at this, in the beaches and parts of eastern North Carolina, mainly to the east of I-95, it may play out that these areas could get several inches of snow. Young kids and older kids are probably very happy about that. But again, in our part of the Piedmont, from Greensboro south and east, we're going to watch closely. And with these frigid temperatures, just a tiny bit of snow is going to stick on the highways. So just a little bit of snow, a dusting or up to an inch would be enough to just cause all sorts of dangerous travel problems. So you need to stay with us here on WFMY News 2. We'll continue to keep you updated, and we'll just see how things really play out as we go into the evening and overnight period. Make sure you tune in to the Good Morning Show tomorrow. Enough snow, school cancellations, school delays, business closings. But again, this is not going to be a major winter storm because the bulk of the moisture stays south and east of the Triad. Look at this. This model shows no snow for the Triad. Only in eastern North Carolina. So that's the wide range of conditions that we've been looking at. Now, the low pressure will move away. Whatever we get should be out of here around 3 or 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning, but we stay cold right on through Thursday before we start to warm things up a little bit as we head towards the upcoming weekend. So over the rest of the afternoon, the clouds continue to thicken. Light snow will develop late, and I'm thinking around some of that snow that we see aloft will start reaching the ground around 7, 8, or 9 o'clock. Temperatures only mid and upper 20s today, and then light snow tonight, and we still got a question mark here on the graphic, again with the wide range of solutions with our models, but we still think the better chance south and east of the immediate triad. And our 7-day forecast shows that the weather impact alert days go through midday on Thursday for more frigid temperatures. Look at Thursday morning, 14 for the morning low. We will go above freezing finally on Thursday afternoon. And then look at this nice warm up coming up Friday around 40, but it only gets better. Mid 40s on Saturday, and we could crack 50 coming up on Sunday. That's the way it looks right now. Your forecast team continuing to study the model forecast output, and we'll continue to keep you updated, and we'll have more updates coming up on WFMY Plus.